welcome to another episode of Shooting
the Shit with Rachel
and Neal Young. So we're talking all things real estate photography business growth, mindset, and getting it done. Here come your favorite true entrepreneurs, Rachel and Neal Young, shooting the shit.
I have a ferret on the podcast. Like if we're kind of in a slump, like what kind of things do you do?
Talking about a boob light.
Straddling a power line.
Nice photo.
Ooh, I need that.
I'm like red right now because I'm embarrassed. I go like this. I love it.
Come in.
Sure, use your podcast voice.
You know, over here, I'm kidding out.
Drone's like flipping to the ground.
That's a great callback.
Chit-chatting.
Is that what you call that?
Hey!
Hey!
This episode is brought to you by my admin. Well, HD Photo Hub, which is basically like having an admin.
That's right. And it's not just a delivery platform. It's a powerhouse designed to make your work shine. From stunning teaser videos and social media reels to custom property websites and polished printable flyers, HD Photo Hub automates it all so you can focus on what matters, growing your business.
That's right. All right, gang. Today we have an awesome guest with us. We've got Pete Stagl, who is the founder of Pixl CRM and the author of the Pixl Marketing Method, a book that is out, and we're super excited to talk about that and introduce Pete. I'd love for you to just say hello and tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got to this place with Pixl.
Thanks, guys. I'm happy to be here. I'm a former real estate photographer. You know, I built my business from 2018 to the end of last year and sold it. And, you know, along the way, I built up a whole bunch of systems and processes to allowed us to grow and scale our business. And I put it all into the system, Pixl CRM, and then wrote a book about it. So that's a short story. We can dive into all of the nitty gritty of it, however you'd like to.
Right. So we first met you, Pete, back at PMRE of 2024. And you had a backpack on with flashing lights on the back. You had cool beanies that we stole and wore around. Like, You just had all the swag. And you were super nice and easy to talk to. And all the questions that I asked if your system would do it for me for marketing, you were like, yep, it does that. I said, does it do this? Yep, it does that. Does it do this? Yep, it does that. And I was like, okay, we need this. And we should talk about you possibly being a sponsor for our podcast. So Pete is actually one of the sponsors of Shooting the Shit. But Pete's an amazing guy. He's got an incredible system that will do pretty much anything under the sun with marketing. And Pete, why don't you just kind of give us like your elevator pitch of what Pixl CRM is so people understand, and then we can dive kind of into the book a little bit more.
Sounds good. So Pixl CRM is, if you were to look at it, you have your booking platform, HD Photo Hub, whatever you're using there, and Pixl CRM is the only two things you need to run your business from a software standpoint. A lot of people duct tape their systems together with a MailerLite or MailChimp and, you know, a spreadsheet for CRM tracking and all of this other things. It just combines all of that into one. It's the tool that you need to help you attract new clients, retain the ones you have, and allows you to grow your business.
Psst. Sorry to interrupt. If you haven't heard, Rach and I are using Pixl CRM.
Pixl CRM isn't just another boring tool. It's basically your business's best friend. With Pixl CRM, you can automate your lead generation, follow-ups, client communication, and stay top of mind with email campaigns. And there's just so much more.
And if you want, you can try it out today. Just go to pixlcrm.com/STS, and you're going to get the first month of Pixl CRM free. And if people don't know what CRM is, customer relation management, right?
Yep.
So yeah, like the thing that you use to check in, like, oh, you know what? I haven't touched base with this client in 6 months. I should probably see how they're doing. They haven't booked in a while. And you're automating a lot of that stuff. You're automating like reaching out to clients, and there's so much you can do in the system. It is so robust. But generally speaking, to attract new clients, to retain those clients, to keep in touch with them, and to do some other things like newsletters and all this stuff to automate all that stuff, right?
Exactly, and it's a lot of it is the follow up and the automations and the consistency. You know, what I found is that a lot of photographers do random acts of marketing. They'll get slow, and so they'll do some newsletters, or they'll send out some emails, or they'll do some Instagram messages, or even just posting on Instagram, saying, "Hey, I've got availability. Come book me." But it's sporadic and it's inconsistent. What we developed within Pixl CRM is the way and the process to be consistent in all of your outreach, all of your marketing, so that as you install these little bits and pieces of processes in your business, it just runs consistently in the background. And then again, and of course, it notifies you that if there's anything that you need to take care of. If you have a bad experience with, or a client has a bad experience, it allows you to catch that and stop and intervene. If somebody stops booking with you, it can notify you, and you can see this and see what happens. Like, for instance, we have our client status tracker inside of Pixl CRM, and I built that because I was running my business before I had a bunch of shooters, and busy season, I'm shooting, and it just stopped, and it occurs to me, I haven't seen John Doe in a while. And then I dig through and I look, and he's still listing properties. I'm just not shooting them. And, and it's been a couple months. Whereas, they were shooting, or we were shooting 5 to 10 listings for them a month. And so it just catches a lot of that's drop off and those little leaky holes in your bucket, so you can actually plug them and have a system in place to catch all of that.
Cool.
That's great. Yeah. And sometimes it's just a matter of reaching out, and they're just looking for something that you offer, but they didn't think you offer. They didn't know you offered that. Could be that easy. So yeah, I think it's great. I'll just give you an example of one of the kind of advanced email sequences that Pete helped me set up for one of my headshot events. I wanted to send out an email, and I wanted to make sure that they had opened it. So we put some triggers in there. It was like 4 different emails that would send out. One of them was like, book your spot for your headshot event. And then it basically replaces Calendly as well, because there was like a calendar invites thing that you could set up in there. And so if they didn't open the email within a day, then it shot them another email. If they did open that email but didn't book a spot, it emailed them again, like, I don't know, 12 hours later or something. And then if they did book then it would thank them and say, your time is at this time, and, or confirmed. So it was very confusing at first, but Pete, you were there to just walk me through all of it. You helped me set it up. You explained it along the way and made it very simple for me to really understand. And that was something that, like, I've seen examples of that being done before, and I've signed up for really advanced email marketing systems, and it's awful. It's so confusing on your own. So it was really nice to have you there to kind of help me through it.
That's a good point too, because when we first started chatting, you've worked with systems very similar to this before, and you never really got into it, never really developed any real processes in those other systems, primarily because you didn't have the support behind it.
Right.
You didn't have somebody to lead you through it and be able to ask questions and say, oh, well, you just got to go here, and connect this together and do this. You were trying to figure it out on your own. And that's one of the things that we pride ourselves on Pixl CRM, is that you can get a hold of us in any number of ways, and I'll either shoot you a Loom video to walk you through how to make a change or make an edit, jump on a Zoom, and actually in your account I can work and build the process, build the workflow out. And so that hands-on touch is important to me, because I like talking to business people and business owners that are getting use out of the system, and I want everybody who's in the system to actually install all these systems so that it works in their business, not just to sell you software and hope you never use it.
Right. Yeah. So you obviously have a huge passion for marketing. Where did all this come from? Like, how did this
start? I've done a lot of different businesses over the years. My first business was when I was 16, and I think I'm on business 17 or 18. So I've just done a lot of serial entrepreneur, consummate student of marketing and business. And so it's kind of funny, when I was in between businesses. My wife was a realtor, and I started my real estate photography business. And I kind of started it as more of a, well, I've got nothing else is going on, I'll just do this, and we'll kind of do this on the side until I figure out what I want to do next. And so I didn't really put a whole lot of effort into the marketing and the business side of things. And then as it started to pick up, and I was like, oh, I should probably actually treat this like a business, like I have everything else I've done in my life. And so then it started, actually putting those processes and systems in place. But I'm constantly learning about marketing, listening to podcasts, reading books. I read books all the time, or listen to them, depending on where I am and what I'm doing. All of my books are all business. They're all marketing. They're all how people have done things in the past and how they do it now. All sorts of stuff. So I've been doing that forever. And so when I was doing my business and realized that I needed to treat it like a business, that's when I started, implementing a lot of the systems and testing and tweaking and make things actually work for the real estate media business industry, rather than just whatever else I've been doing.
And
The long and the short.
that's a huge difference too. The fact that you come from real estate. So there's a lot of systems that do client management, but the fact that you come from that same background, things are set up in a way that solve our problems specifically, I think, and can be applied to our specific business, which isn't always the case if you're just going to go grab whatever random CRM is out there. So
Exactly. And it's figuring out how those systems work for our industry, not just because a lot of these systems are the same stuff that you do in a plumbing business or an electrician business or a restaurant. Marketing from a foundational standpoint is fairly consistent across industries. It's how it's applied and how you actually do these things. To give you an idea, I'm a big student of Dan Kennedy, which is a direct response. He's called the godfather of direct response marketing. All direct response marketing is you create an ad or offer or what have you, and you get a response for it. So like years ago, it would be an ad in a magazine or a newspaper for something, and you get a response. That's what direct response is. And he's been retired now, but he goes all the way back to the 40s and 50s in marketing, and those strategies and those systems that people are doing then are still applicable now. It's just how do you apply it in this day and age with these tools, with this type of messaging and what have you.
And then, so the big news is the new book that's out that you've created, which you're obviously the author of, which is pretty exciting. So there it is. Yeah,
Yep.
he's holding up, if you're only just listening, he's holding up the book right now, the Pixl Marketing Method. And so how long was this in the making?
So when I first released Pixl CRM, our first users in it, they would do a couple of things. They would do our feedback and review process or DM outreach and use some of those tools. And that was like all they were doing. And some of our users from the very beginning are still with us because they got value out of just that. But it's just a small little piece of everything else that it could do and everything that you should be doing in your business. And so when I sold my real estate media business and focused entirely on Pixl CRM, I took a step back and looked at what are the processes and systems I installed in my business to be able to do all of the marketing pieces that I needed to do. And I took all of that and then put it into a 9-step framework. And so I can teach this is what you need to do in order to get the most out of Pixl CRM. And so I put that together at the end of last year. I mentioned it to you guys at PMRE, kind of the processes and what to do. And then I did a masterclass. And I took 9 weeks and took a bunch of our users and new users through the Pixl Marketing Method and went through all of that. And then I took that and then wrote the book. And so it's a long time coming, but it's actually all happened pretty quickly once I put the framework together and just put all of it down as to here's how I installed it in my business. Here's what works. Here's what you need to do to set this up in your system so that you can benefit from this years of experience and process. So you can just install it in your business and go.
So who is this book for? Is it only for people who already use Pixl, or is it something that's applicable to everybody? And what's your pitch? If somebody needs help in their business, what does this solve?
So I've actually had a lot of people reach out. Just the other day, I had somebody who said, "Oh, that's a cool book. Is this applicable to real estate investors?" And it's like, no, it's not. This is just for real estate media providers and business owners who want to grow and scale their business. Whether you're a solo shooter or you have a big team, these are the marketing systems that'll allow you to consistently market your business and stay top of mind with your clients. And so it is not necessarily for just Pixl CRM users. I want everybody in the real estate media world to go through this book and just at least have the strategies at hand. Whether you're going to duct tape it together with a bunch of different tools or you're going to use Pixl CRM, it's completely up to you. I'm happy either way. I would much rather help you guys with the marketing stuff that I'm an expert in, rather than you guys try to flounder along by yourself installing these little things. And a lot of our users, it's like, I've been meaning to do this. I've been meaning to I never even thought about doing it that way. And they come to me and it's like, I'm glad you put this all in one place so I can go back to it and look through the book and reread it and implement things as I go along. Because it's all the things that I've wanted to do, even though I didn't necessarily know I wanted to do them. But it's all the stuff I wanted to do in order to grow my business.
That's great. Did you implement this into your business when you had it?
I did, and that's ultimately where it all came from. Is all of the systems and processes and things that I was doing in my business. Now, I will say we've tested it across a lot more people, and so we've got some better performing processes and systems now than we did when it was just myself trying to test it in my small market. But it was everything that we did in my business, and then some of the things that we've just come across that worked better that we've implemented into the system so it works.
What are some of the biggest problems you feel like you're solving with this? Yeah, or have you had any fun stories of how this helped people going through the method?
It's funny, if you go through the book or even our website, we have a couple of long-standing users, and they talk all about the number of reviews that they had, because that was one of our core processes in the beginning. Was actually, everybody says that they want reviews for their business, and everybody wants to show up on Google, in a better way, not ranking better than the competitors. And reviews are a good portion of that. And everybody says they want to do that, but not everybody actually consistently asks for reviews. And so just putting a process in place where you ask for feedback ahead of time, quick thumbs up, thumbs down. How was the shoot? Did our photographer show up late? Where, did you not like the colors in the photos or what have you? I mean, you're not saying that, but that's what you're trying to elicit from them. If you don't have a review from them yet, and you haven't asked them for a review, then you ask them for a review. And then if they don't give you a review, you put it into a 90-day hold, and you ask them again. And just consistently making sure that you're doing that outreach so that you're getting, and that's all handled automatically. You don't even have to think about it.
Yeah. And it won't send out a review every time. It's
exactly.
You can set up the parameters for that, or is that kind of default?
So we teach every 90 days. Okay. So if they don't leave a review, you're going to put them in a 90-day hold. You're not going to ask them for a review until they have a shoot again, and it's been 90 days since the last time. Yeah. And the reason is that you want to make sure you're asking consistently, but you don't want to hound them. And so when you kick off a review process, we have a process of we actually message them, or you can adjust it if you want to, but I think we have 5 or 6 times in a conversational way of, would you leave us a review over the course of like a week and a half, 2 weeks? And you don't want to go through that process every single time that you do a shoot, because that would just annoy them. And then you get those reviews with here's their stinking review. These guys are great, except that they asked you for a review all the freaking time. You don't need reviews like that.
Yeah, right. Totally. I've really loved even just getting, so you have the thumbs up, thumbs down scenario, right? So they can give an instant, easy reaction. They don't have to like type anything, but how was your shoot? Was it thumbs up? Was it thumbs down? And so I get a bunch of the thumbs up. I'm like, oh, cool. They had a good experience. That's great. It makes you feel good, especially when it's maybe a new client. And then I also really like that you get there's a new review. So it's a Google review, but I love getting the email that tells me I got a new review. So I'll go then look at the review and do a quick comment and response, because I want to interact on the Google reviews as well. So I've commented on all the ones, and we've got a bunch since now. I didn't used to have very many reviews on mine at all but now since we've implemented this, we've got a lot more. And then the other thing that's really good and that we should talk about is the fact that when you get a thumbs down, it's a very quick indication, because you don't want that sitting for a long period of time that somebody was unhappy. That needs to be talked about ASAP before they just go find somebody else for the next shoot, because you have an opportunity to resolve it. And I did get a couple of weeks ago my first thumbs down, and I was like, oh crap. and I called them up immediately, like, hey, I saw you gave us a thumbs down. I just wanted to double check, what could we have done better? Is there anything we can help with? And she's like, oh my gosh, luckily, I'm so sorry, I hit the wrong one. Everything was great. And I'm like, oh, thank God. But without that indication, most people will not tell you that they were unhappy, but it makes that pulls away that gateway just to kind of, wasn't happy. They don't have to say anything. They have to call anybody out on a review online, which they might not be open to do, but it gives you a quick indication. So I think that's great, and you certainly don't want them to get to the point where they're going to write a bad review because
exactly.
they don't even know what happened at that point.
And that's just a small thing that we put in the whole process. I mean, we put that in as it's step part 6 of our 9-step framework, because it's reviews and referral mastery is what we call that, and that's just a small portion of the Pixl Marketing Method. Some of the big things that people are really diving into right now is the first 3 steps, which is magnetic messaging, understanding your target market and your USP. And we have a really cool ChatGPT tool that'll walk you through how to think through your business and go through that, so you can actually fill that all out and then take that and create irresistible offers. And this is the part that we're getting a lot of really great feedback on right now from people reading the book, as well as our users. And that's because a lot of people are just going out there and doing discounts or free shoots in order to get new business. And I think a lot of people are finding that it's when you do discounts, you're competing on price. When you do free shoots, which I'm not against, I mean, you absolutely can do that in the beginning to get experience in shooting a house and dealing with a homeowner and dealing with an agent and building a portfolio. But there's better offers out there than just doing free, especially when everybody else is trying to do that same thing. And so people are looking for, new ways to do this marketing. And it's funny because these aren't necessarily, groundbreaking new offers, but they are a different way to do it. Instead of, just doing what everybody else is doing, you actually look at your business and you figure out who is it that I'm targeting? What are their pain points? And how can I solve them in a way that gets them to raise their hand? And so we actually teach 3 core offers: a transitional offer, a introductory offer, and then of course your direct offer, and or promo offer as well. And so the transitional offer, this is the part that people skip. And from an internet marketing standpoint, everybody knows this as a lead generation offer, a lead magnet, or a tripwire, any number of different type of offers. But I call it a transitional offer because you're transitioning a cold lead or cold prospect to a warm lead. That's all it's for. You want them to raise their hand and say, I like what you're saying, tell me more. And that's it. Because that's going to cut through the noise. That's going to cut through, what everybody else is doing, and it's going to get them to raise their hand. And now you can actually have a conversation with them. And now you can actually follow up with them. And it's funny because everybody's going after the sale, and they're trying to get, that free shoot or that discount shoot. And so they're doing outreach on Instagram, or they're cold calling, or they're emailing. And it's a very small window where a new client who has never heard of you or doesn't really know anything about you has a listing and is pissed off at their current photographer. Very small window. I mean, it's a small window as it is that they have a listing, but that they're also pissed off at their current photographer, that they're willing to take the chance on you. Willing to take the chance, because quite frankly, a free shoot is still taking a chance. They don't know how you're going to interact with the client. They don't know what kind of quality they're going to get. They may have to get the house reshot by their past guy, because they don't know. Yeah. And so there's a lot of risk there for somebody for free. And so if you just get transitional offer, you just get them to raise their hand and say, I like what you have to say, tell me more. You have a much broader amount of prospective clients that'll come into your ecosystem, and you're able to then nurture and guide them through the process. Right. And then you give them an introductory offer. And an introductory offer is not based on price. You're not here giving them a 50% off deal. You're not here to give them any sort of, hey, we'll do your first shoot for $100 or any of that type of stuff. That's all still competing on price. And when you compete on price, everybody's kind of gotten the idea of this. You get price sensitive clients, and in this industry, most people don't want price sensitive clients. Otherwise, you have lower average order values, and they tend to complain a lot more.
They're the worst.
Yeah, they are. And so you put together, what I like to do is I like to put together, it's all about the value. And so, you build a introductory offer, and it may end up being cheaper to go with your introductory offer than one of your other, your standard packages or anything like that. But you're not selling it on the price. You're selling it on the value that you're giving them. You're making it so that it's so much more valuable, so much cooler of the stuff that you're putting together, and you're giving them for the price. So to give you an idea, say, your middle package is, and this is if you join packages, and that's a whole other story, but middle package is $350, or that's about what your average order value is. You have photos, floor plan, virtual tour in there, whatever. maybe you do a real video or something. The introductory offer is going to have additional value. You're going to put in, a 5-day listing marketing blitz of, how to use the media that you're providing. Maybe you do a pre-shoot checklist, but you frame it as a guide, and you actually give the why they need to not park their car in front of the house, why they need to, clean off the counters in the thing, why the dog is nice, it shouldn't be running around the house. You give the why behind it so that people understand it, rather than just a checklist of why is this guy telling me I have to do all this crap before he comes and takes the photos of my house. But you do that, you put that together. Maybe you put together some Canva templates, and then there's a whole slew of real estate Canva templates you can even just buy and put together. Maybe you put together a just listed postcard package where you'll send out 25 postcards to announce the listing to the nearest neighbors. There's some things like that you can do. You just add additional value to that package. And now, once they've raised their hand on the transitional offer, now they're going to go in through your nurture process, and you're going to follow up with email, maybe some text message, maybe some phone calls, depending on what you want to do. But as you've nurtured them, you're building know, like, and trust. They kind of have a good rapport with you. You're starting to build that relationship. They're like, this company is pretty interesting. They seem to know what they're doing. They seem to have good quality. I like how they're following up. And then they get a listing, and you present them with this introductory offer. Their current photographer is $350. This offer is $350. They're happy with their current photographer, but here's all the stuff over here, all this additional value. Like, I've got to try this guy out. I've got to try this company out and see what it's like to work with them. Even though they're happy with their current photographer, they're much more likely to try you out and give you a shot. And then you wow them, obviously, on the shoot. You put them into your first impressions framework, where you're going to onboard them appropriately so they know how to use the media that you just provided to them, how to post it and use it. You'd be surprised how many realtors think the MLS is a marketing platform, and that all they got to do is put some photos and property information in the MLS, and the house will market itself. And that's why a lot of agents only buy the bare minimum. They don't buy a whole lot because they don't know what to do with it. And so what I found in my business, this is why we teach this in the book and push it in Pixl CRM, is that if you teach them how to use the media that you're going to give them, they're much more likely to order it again. And I think you guys even mentioned that a couple episodes again, is like, yep, if you actually show them how to do this, there's like, I should order more of that.
Rach, can you imagine if you had to go back to a world pre-HD Photo Hub?
Oh, no way. No, HD Photo Hub literally saved my life during the COVID craze. With online ordering, their invoicing, the photo delivery, the Google integration, and just having everything on one platform, HD Photo Hub really does it all. And I cannot imagine my business without it.
Same. Pre-HD Photo Hub, I feel like I was just spending all my time chasing my own tail. It was horrible. Mm-hmm. The good news is our listeners get a special deal. If you enter the code STS, you're going to get 10 free full marketing kit deliveries. Remember, enter the code STS. Yep.
And so that's where we're getting a lot of buzz around the irresistible offer section. And then it goes into the lead generation engine, which is, there are a lot of ways to get in front of somebody. And if you are only doing one way, especially on a non-owned platform such as Instagram or Facebook, where you can't, and you're not getting them off of that, it's very hard to follow up with them. It's very hard to nurture them along. You've got to get them to come off that platform, and hitting them in multiple ways. Because how many agents do you know are actively on Instagram right now, and they don't have a VA or an admin actually managing it for them? I know, Rachel, you've had, social media management companies come in and do stuff because you didn't want to be on there all the time.
Yeah.
Agents are pitched this all the time too. Mm-hmm. They're hiring people on to just manage it because they don't want to deal with it. Yeah. And so how much, if that's all you're doing is outreach on social media, how much of that is just going into the void? Besides the spam filters and algorithm, whether you actually show up in their inbox or not. And so hitting them in multiple ways, send them a message on Instagram, but then follow up on email, and then maybe do a voicemail drop to tell them, hey, just wanted to make sure you saw this offer. I won't bother you again. and get them to claim that transitional offer. So then you can follow up with them.
That's true. And I didn't think about that, but that's really true. A lot of them are not on there as much as you think they are, because especially when they have teams and stuff, they're not touching that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first thing they get. A lot of them are terrified about it in the first place, and it's the first thing they'll hand off to anybody else to take if they can.
Exactly.
I understand that pain too. I would think I would too.
I don't like being on social media. I'm on there because I have to be.
Right.
But quite frankly, I take a lot of the content I put everywhere else and I just repost it there just to stay active. And I'll post things occasionally that are more, here's an offer, here's a transitional offer, comment down below if you want it. And so, I do that with the book. If you want a free copy of the book, you go across my social media, just comment book and I'll send you a link to get a free copy. That type of automation is actually done through Pixl CRM. Mm-hmm. And so you can actually do comment book and I can send you a link back to, I can DM you a link automatically through Pixl CRM.
So it also replaces ManyChat, is what
exactly.
You're saying.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Like I said, all these ancillary, you could duct tape them all together, or you could just use Pixl CRM and it just has everything you need.
Pete, where do they find you on socials if they want to message you?
Pixl CRM.
There you go.
Easy enough.
It's very easy. It's a name that not many people even came up with. So if you go search Pixl CRM on any of the platforms that you're on, other than some of the weird ones, you'll find me.
And it's Pixl.
Yes.
CRM.
Yep.
Yes. Pixl CRM. Yes.
Okay, so you got us through the chapter of lead generation engine.
Yes.
Can we talk about the next one, the first impressions framework?
Absolutely. So right now, new client comes into your world and they book a shoot. What happens?
Well, my assistant is supposed to reach out to them and send them an email that says, welcome. It's very manual. Because we don't have Pixl CRM set up completely. Because we've been busy and doing other things, right?
Yeah.
Making excuses.
The only thing that's automated for me is they are going to get a reminder about their upcoming shoot, but they're not in a workflow right now. They should be. Yeah.
Yep.
And this is what the system. Tell me how it would go if I had everything set up in the system that I should have set up right now. Tell me how this workflow would go.
So you guys are like most people. Somebody comes into your ecosystem. You may not even know how. They just found you and they booked a shoot. And your delivery platform will do your appointment reminder, maybe send out a text reminding them of their shoot, and maybe they'll do something else, and we'll get into that. Or they just go and they shoot. Great experience. Maybe they're there, maybe they're not. Maybe they're just here's access. You go shoot the property, and then you deliver it, and that's it. That's what most real estate photographers do. They don't have anything else there. They think that they're following up by having, appointment reminders and delivery emails and all of that type of stuff. But what you really need to do is you need to wow them, especially as a new client. Mm-hmm. And you need to onboard them to how you do business, because how you do business is different. And even if it's not, it's different because it is, because it's you and you're doing things the way that you want to do them. I've talked to a lot of real estate photographers, and the most basic things that you're doing in your business, somebody else does differently. And so they don't know. And so you need to teach your clients how to do business with you. And so when a new order is booked, you should, from a new client, you should do a welcome call to make sure that they got what they wanted, thank them for their order, see if there's anything else that they need. Even if it's just for, just as a new client. And this really should be you as the owner doing it, because it's you that should be thanking them, not necessarily your VA or admin. You should also send an email of, here's how to find us. Here's all of our social media. Here's, the pre-shoot checklist. Here's you nurture them along for the first couple of days. It doesn't have to be a long workflow, long sequence, because the time from them booking and them having the shoot is usually fairly short. I mean, how far out are you booked right now?
Yeah, usually
maybe a week.
Right?
Yeah, usually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you've got maybe 5 to 7 days to follow up with them. And quite frankly, you just want to keep that.
One.
Exactly. And so you just want to send them a couple of welcome emails to make sure that they know kind of what what you do, how to find you, get the pre-shoot checklist in their hand, let them know that, hey, we do drone, we do floor plans, we do some of the other things, just as a, quick cursory, just so that they know. They're probably not gonna read the email, but at least you have it out there. At least you're trying. Once you deliver the shoot, now it's a whole nother story. This is where most photographers drop the ball. Because once they deliver it, that's it. Hopefully they come back. And so this is where we do the feedback and the review and the referral process. All chained and one right after the other. Because when's the best time to ask for referrals? When they had a good experience. How do you know they had a good experience? Because they just left you a great glowing review, and because you asked feedback. But beyond that, and this kind of goes back to what I was talking about in the irresistible offer. We used to do what's called we called it the 5-day listing marketing blitz. And so we did webinars on it and taught our agents, what should you do the first 5 days that your listing goes live? Mm-hmm. And it's all about the marketing actions. It's all about, posting this and send the property website out to your home seller so that they can send it to their friends and family announcing that the house is live, and that it all goes back to their website rather than a Zillow link or an MLS link, because that's the whole point of a single property website. A lot of people, they don't use the property website because they don't know what to do with it. They say, well, I can just send them the Zillow link, or I can just send them the MLS link, and I have it right here. I'll just share it there. You want them to go there because that's where you can capture their information. You can, only have that agent's information on there. You can see all the rich media, and so you should be doing going through how to use that media, where to post it, what to do with it, especially with HC Photo Hub. I've been diving deep into the marketing kit for a couple of our clients recently, and I've got to tell you, HC Photo Hub's marketing kit is way better than it used to be. There's so much in there.
Oh yeah.
And years ago when I was using it, I was teaching them how to use the marketing kit because there was so much then. And there's just so much more now. I mean, you've got all those reels and, the different templates. Isn't there 23 reel videos
it's
in there?
Insane. There's like 20, and you just keep going to expand more, and there's more options.
Exactly. It looks so much better than it did years ago. But anyway, going through that, your agents don't know anything about that. It's funny. I've had some clients that we've been working with, and they have on their shopping cart, they say that, marketing kit, value is $15 or whatever. It's like, no, it's not. Have you seen what's in there? The value of something is what you can use it for. And the thing is that most agents are probably only getting that $15 worth of value out of it because they don't know what to do with it. Mm-hmm. And just sending them a 5-minute video of here's all the stuff you can do in the marketing kit isn't doing it justice. And so part of that 5-day listing marketing blitz is day 1, do this, just listed reel here and here and here, and pull out this media, post it here. Day 2, post this here. Day 3, and you start walking through how to use all of the pieces of the marketing kit, how to use the video that you just sent them, how to use the virtual tour if you're doing that, how do you use the floor plan, and once they realize how to use it to market the listing and themselves, they're much more likely to actually buy that again. They're much more likely to do that, which is why on your introductory offer, again, going back to irresistible offers and why everything kind of stacks on itself, and it's the foundational pieces it just builds on each other, that's why the introductory offer, I recommend, has a little bit of everything that you do so that they can experience the full breadth of what you do and you can provide them, especially when it comes to that listing, the 5-day listing marketing blitz, or the 5-day, whatever you want to call it. You don't have to use my terminology, but having a actual step-by-step process. Hey, welcome to Pixl Peak Photography. This is 5-day listing marketing blitz. We're going to give you 5, every day for the next 5 days. We're going to tell you what you should post on what platform and why, so that you can get the most exposure and most eyeballs on your listing as soon as it goes live. And then you walk them through, and you don't want to do it all at once. You just drip it out over the next 5 days of an email. Hey, here's the 3 things you need to post today. Here's why. And now people are going to be much more apt to be able to use the media that you just created for them and the marketing kit that goes along with it, and they get the value out of it.
One of my biggest clients, this is exactly what made them buy into always doing my packages. They were always doing a la carte before, and now they do my medium package every single time, because we had to sit down with their admin in the room too and walked them through the whole offering and gave them like, hey, you should start out day one by doing the website, and day two, you know, your listing. Basically, they had a few steps that they were always going to do, and they figured out the templates that they love the most. So now their admin has a structure what to do for everyone, and they want to be consistent, because what I've told them is this is what you use at your listing appointment as, look at all the marketing I do for your house. Day one, to do this, day two, of this, and nobody else, these other agents show up and say, yeah, we do for professional photos, and it doesn't sound like much. So now, even though it's honestly just a spin on it, but with that,
and that's ultimately what marketing is. Marketing is just spinning, it all so that it makes sense.
And they're so excited about that. But that little difference is a big difference in the percentage of closes that they're getting now when they sit down in front of people. It's amazing. It's
crazy how much, if you just show agents how to use stuff, they'll actually want to use it. And because that's ultimately what it is that, if they do this for this listing, that's what people are going to expect on the next listing. So all of the people who are looking at this listing, because quite frankly, most people who are selling their house are looking to buy a house. So they're in the market. And so they're looking at what everybody else is doing. And so they're looking and say, oh, I really like how, Realtor A did that. And look at all the things that they're doing. And it's just a trailer. I liked how they did that for that, that little property. They're going to do that for my property if I list with them.
Right.
And that's how you get that next listing from the current listing. I'll tell you, I did a whole lot of training and teaching of my agents in my market, and that's what made me their true marketing partner rather than just another vendor.
Yeah.
And it's this education part. And that's why my average order value in the middle of nowhere was higher than some of these much larger areas that I'm running into.
It's amazing what actually just the slightest little effort to give a damn to help them. It's amazing what a difference that will make versus just showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Totally.
So Pete, is that, I love that 5 days, how you should list a property, like what you should do for marketing for the first 5 days. That's actually an idea that I've had as well. I just haven't implemented it yet. Is that in the book, or is that something that do you have a resource?
It broken down is not in the book, no. But the concept is. And quite frankly, nowadays AI is so good. You put in there, here, this is the media that I provide. This is what's in my marketing kit.
Yeah, love it.
Give me a 5-day marketing plan for a agent with these resources, and you'll come up with a ton of stuff.
Okay.
A ton of stuff. Years ago when I was doing it, I actually pulled a lot of the stuff we used iGuide and iGuide floor plans. And so they had a whole little blip on how to market listings and stuff. So I took a lot of that and mixed it in with a lot of the other things. And so it's like, hey, you could do this and this, and did you know you could do this with a virtual tour? And so there's a lot of that type of stuff that I put in there. And in my market, we sold a lot of virtual tours, mainly because I taught agents the value of it, because that's what we were providing. Now video is really, really popular, and you just teach agents how to use it, where to post it, and they're going to get the value out of it.
And it's one of the things you can add to create a package is just like you said before, adding this document that you created that says day one, you post your website. Day two, choose one of these reels in this section. Day three, you post your video that we created for you if you did like a higher end package that included video or included a Matterport. And and just tell them specifically what to do, and you add that as a extra add-on, and you establish a value of this, what it would be if we helped you with this in person. It would have cost this much, so you can have that looks like this whole bigger thing that you have, right? And that's
because it's still the value. You're just putting a price tag on the value that you are providing.
Right.
It's not like you're making up and you're saying, here, when you book our $350 package here, you're getting a $3,000 value. You're not doing that. You're just saying, yes, it's valuable, and we're giving you, this because it is, and you're not making it up. You're not just coming out of, values out of thin air, and you're saying, yeah, I want to make this value really look good, so I'm just going to say it's $1,000.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. No. Yeah.
So then
and then you get a document and go, what the heck is this? Is $1,000?
Yeah, exactly.
is clearly ChatGPT. No.
Yeah. Like $50 for sure.
Yeah.
So then you would set that up as a trigger going out towards people that bought packages, and then Pixl CRM would automatically send out that email sequence over 5 days, so you don't have to do anything? Or how
So
would you set that up?
yes.
I guess.
Yes.
we
So
don't have to get too into
realistically,
it, but
what we do is we put the 5-day listing marketing bliss as an add-on to that introductory offer. But just because that's how we're marketing it doesn't mean that it's not something that we're going to do with every new client. And that's why the first impressions framework is separate, is that's your onboarding process. You're gonna do this for every new client that comes in, because you want them to know how to use the media, even if they didn't order it. If they only ordered a floor plan with you for some weird reason, you want to onboard them with this whole sequence so they understand the value that you're doing. They understand why they should have ordered photos and floor plan and virtual tour and video with you, rather than the floor plan only with you, and they got this other guy doing photos, and they got some drone guy coming in to do drone, and it's like, I didn't realize I could do it all in one. I didn't realize that this is way more comprehensive than I thought it was. And so you want to onboard every new client. And quite frankly, once you set this up, you want to run everybody who's currently a client.
I was just going to say, because so many of the clients who've been using you for years don't know that you do all these other things. They only know the one thing they always ordered.
Yeah. And again, it goes back to, they don't know the value in it. And so a lot of times, even if they do know that you do video, or that you do floor plans, or that you do virtual tours or drone or anything like that, they may know that. They just may not. It's like, why do I order that? What am I going to do with that? And it's like I said, a lot of these agents, they think that MLS is a marketing platform. They put the photos on the MLS, maybe a virtual tour, because there's a spot for a virtual tour, and maybe they put a video in there, but they realize that video doesn't really go anywhere most of the time whether you put it in the MLS, and they're like, that's all the MLS will accept, so why am I going to do anything else? But you need to teach them, you need to show them why and how valuable it can be, and that's how people get those additional orders in their business.
So this episode is packed with so much information from Pete, and we want to make sure that you get all the value. So we're deciding to break this one up into 2 parts. So next week, look for part 2 with Pete as well.
we'll see you then.